Meet Deepu S Nath, an entrepreneur and technology evangelist working at the intersection of education, policy and innovation in India. With over a decade of experience, as the founder of MuLearn and FAYA and the managing director of FAYA India, he works to connect youth, industry and government through community-driven innovation, intelligent gamification and decentralized learning. Welcome to Techzila, sharing his journey and digital insights.
So, Deepu, I think you have been very familiar face in the community. You have been in different roles, especially you are very popular in the community activity called MuLearn, where the more than 60,000 young minds were actually already ignited. And you are here and you know that there is a lot of stories behind you on each of these actions behind. So we are looking detailed into it. So I just want to get started with you are pure entrepreneur getting into the fast track community activity. There is a huge gap between. So there is something dramatic happened in between. You took that path and worked on a purpose in between that created all these actions and entities. So what was actually the beginning of all this action followed by?
So all those actions started with one question: why our people are considered as low quality, cheap labor when they work from India? Because if you look at the companies around the world, Indians are on the top of majority of the companies. They are considered as the best. But still, when a project is outsourced to India, it is considered as cheap and low quality.
Yeah.
And our resources, our people has much higher potential. And we have a saying like, if you get a IT job, the life is gone. And they are just like working under stress, pressure, and they're not able to deliver. So that question led to the understanding that these type of people are there in all the companies, but majority are not such people, because as of now, IT is a lucrative salaried job considered as. So a lot of people are getting trained to IT job, and then they get placed in the
like
companies.
a clerical job that keep
Yeah,
on
clerical
doing.
jobs, they just want to have a 9 to 6 thing.
Yeah.
But coding is something that you can enjoy and you have to do with pleasure, because coding is something that you can take your idea into the digital space, right? Anything that you have an idea.
Yes.
So that is how the entire coding started. But here it is not like that. The culture that we have set here is for mostly it's okay to be mediocre. And the conversations and all those things, the technology type of people, if somebody does those type of conversation itself, they will be isolated, and everyone has to get down to the normal conversations of politics, cricket or the football or other type of things, movies. So there is a non-existent conversation, but there are many people who actually love to do that. But finding the peers of similar interests is very important.
Yes.
And that is why I started Coffee DPG in 2013. Where it is a space where every month, first Wednesdays, people who are passionate about technologies can come there, know each other, understand each other, and talk about what happened in the technology world in the last 1 month, and demystify something that is futuristic.
Okay.
And for the past 12 years, it has been happening every month, first Wednesdays. And that is how it became the largest professional
It's
community.
become a user group in
Yes.
that section. Yeah. So I think we have this, if you look at this Microsoft user group, there are open source user group. So these user groups, they discuss these technologies at a very first-hand level, and they share the real world input. I spoke to one of the founder. He also came from the same background. So the community actually helped him to shape and got that confidence to get into that level.
Yeah, because confidence is the key. That is, if you want to work on certain things, that is, working on the bleeding edge is always important, because technology progresses in a way that it makes your life easier, make you help build things with more quality. But many of the times we stick on what we actually already know.
Yeah.
People say that I am a Python programmer, I am a JavaScript programmer, etc. They are getting bundled into a stereotype like that. But if you are a programmer or a coder, you are a coder. Any language should be okay for you.
Yes.
Because it is like, I'm a ambassador driver, I do not drive Swift car. So it is not like that. Programming is something that you should enjoy. It is like playing chess, right? You have to think, you have to strategize and apply.
So when you're building these people with mind, and you also have to give them some space to try out. I think that's where actually the MuLearn comes into picture. So they have space to try out the things irrespective of technology and
Yes.
whatever their domain.
So MuLearn came after, I think, 8 years of FAYA About 80. Because I built the largest professional community. That is, there's a lot of passionate coders and all those things. But there is not much culture change that is happening, because majority of the people were not supposed to be there. They belong to some other space, but they are here by chance, not by their choice. Even engineering was not their choice. So I just understood that is decision on where I have to be. What is my identity? That is missing from the college and school students at that age itself. And they just go into the rat race of getting into engineering, then getting into IT job, just for that reputation or that self-esteem.
Yes.
But self-actuation happens when actually you enter into a space where you actually belong to. But who you are is buried under the push of the parents, family, society on who you have to be. So that choice should be of the student at the college level or the school level itself. And that is where the MuLearn came in.
Okay.
And that is, I got a chance to be a part of the group of technology companies, Exicom, and they made me as the academy and technology focus group. And the task designated to me was fixing the skill gap. Then I looked around and I saw that a lot of people are doing the same. Everybody is trying to fix the skill gap. Government have different types of initiatives. A lot of communities out there.
Yes.
Each university has their own programs. Each companies are coming up with their own programs. Then why? Because a gap I saw is they are working in silos. Why can't we bring them together in a collaborative manner? Because everyone is trying to resolve the same problem.
Yes.
So first few months I just studied, tried to understand who are the players, what are they doing.
Okay.
And then I conducted a stakeholder meeting with people from industry, people from academia, people from government, as well as from the other NGOs, and asked that how can we work together.
Okay.
Then there were different suggestions that came in. That is, can we have some platform where industry's capabilities can be shared with academia in a very easy manner.
Okay.
And that is where the concept of MuLearn came in. And there are certain people like Raja Rahim from Beagle Security, Rajiv J. Sebastian from what was Rajiv's? Alokin. Okay, then Roni Sebastian from Soft Notions, Anu Pampika. So we actually sat together and discussed. That is, we took different roles. Okay. One person on academia, one on enablers, that is faculties, one person on the industry, one person on the NGOs and partners. So we will bring those people together, sensitize on a way where we have to work together. Then we built a digital identity, which is called MuID. It is like Aadhaar or UPI. That is a single identity where things become interoperable. Everybody has a identity for skill.
Yeah.
And then whatever activities that you do should have a measurement, right? Yes. So we decided like it is not about certificates. It should be about proof of work. Proof of work should be proof of skills. So anything that you learn, if you learn web development, There should be a website, at least for a tea shop. You have to build it, make it live. And then only you should claim that you know web development. So such small proof of works, we build a platform where they could submit it, where peers will review it and give you feedback.
Right.
Then you iterate and improve it. And finally, vendors approve it. Karma points are issues. So karma is the currency for skilling. So there is an identity and a currency for skilling, and different people come there and they can use this platform for running their programs. For example, Google is working with us on their Android program. So what happened is that Android, they have courses. That is when they also have their certificates, badges and all those things. But student who complete the course has to make a app in the Play Store.
Yeah.
Then submit it, gain the karma points for that. So everybody can come and use it, and it is completely free of cost. There is zero financial transaction happens within the network because it is completely volunteer driven. So Launchpad actually made it in a way that the students, faculties and everyone want to be part of MuLearn because many of them look for placement. Students have a concept like problem, teacher have to give the solution for it, or it should be in YouTube. But it is not like that. They have to think and solve problem.
So the support you are getting from the community, so is it, you see that this growing rapidly, or I mean, when you started seeing the response back, because you started your own, you said the concept, now it start working. When you feel that it start?
So first year, it is about building a platform, right? And having students joining it. So there were many people who were skeptical about it. They were telling like, industry getting a program to the students, they might not be doing it because they are very busy with the examinations and other lot of things they have to do there. So not even 100 students will be part of the platform. So the first part was sensitization about MuLearn, that is the need for skilling, and we will help you out in getting the right mentor or right people around. So from 0 to 100 happened in one college. It is the Mar Basilius College who actually came forward. So I tested it in one college. Then slowly, word of mouth, it went to other colleges. These faculties and all those people, they know each other, right? They told like there is something called MuLearn, you just come, join, etc. So it slowly started spreading to other campuses. Then Dr. Rajashree Madam was the Vice Chancellor of KTU at that time. Okay. So she was very, she was part of the initial discussion also. So she just told like, I will bring in the faculty, the placement officers from all the campuses. So I just brought in the placement officers and give them an orientation on that is the need for students to learn beyond the syllabus and why the proof of work is very much important. And then they were also bringing in students from the campus and being part of MuLearn, coming and joining the platform. Second one is, after joining, what will they do? They have to gain karma points. They have to put effort towards that, right?
Yeah.
So secondly, first year it is mostly on bringing in those students. So I conducted something called Onam because it was COVID times. So we conducted the largest Onam celebration. There was somebody called Akshay Rajesh. She came as a volunteer here and she ran the largest Onam celebration. We divided Trivandrum, Kochi and Calicut, the colleges into 3 zones, and we asked them to conduct 1 hour program. Onam program from different campuses. And they were telling that, oh, it is exam period, examination, it might not be possible. But we just gave the contacts of the faculties and the students from different campuses. The concept is at least 10 campuses should participate in your region, and it is a competition. Okay. So after 1 hour, these students were calling me back. Can we make it as a full day event? Because that was the response from the community. And around 5,000 students participated in that competition. It was the largest Onam celebration of that year for the students across the state. And slowly we grew into 5,000 member community. Then the next challenge is students have to take karma points. So we want to bring in exciting programs there. Challenges. So we conducted capture the flag programs. We brought in Google, we brought in Microsoft, GitHub, different community activities. They came forward and started working with us on their activities in our platform.
Okay.
Then students have karma, but what is the use of it? So it is just like points, right? So that is where we want to have some value for it. So different programs that were happening, that is NASCOM was conducting NASTEC. So I just asked that it is 2,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees it is ticket. So can you give for 5 students of 5,000 karma free tickets? Then they agreed. So Huddle Global was there, IADC Submitter. So different events was there. So we just announced that we have free tickets for students with 5,000 karma, 10,000 karma, etc. So there is some value for that. Then slowly we brought in the companies together and conducted the program called Launchpad, where karma became the accepted currency for hiring. So around 100 plus companies participated in that. And the surprising factor is the companies were extremely happy with the quality of the talent who actually came in for the interviews. For example, the Launchpad, there was around 10,000 students participated in the first Launchpad event. It is 1 month long challenge. They will go and start working on certain tasks to showcase that I want to join this company.
Okay.
Then around 450 students got qualified. After the 1 month of perseverance, we know that who are the leaderboard. Those will be routed to the companies. The companies like Tata, like say, they came and I think interviewed 42. Out of it, they hired 26. Out of which 16 was from tier 2, tier 3 colleges, which they never knew that those type of college exist, because we normally go to campus recruitment to the top colleges.
Yes.
Every company is going to the top colleges, but there are a lot of talent in the other colleges who never got a chance to come to this place. So Launchpad actually made it in a way that the students, faculties and everyone want to be part of MuLearn, because many of them look for placement. Then we just thought like that is what actually is the next, because it is not just about placement, right? They have to be innovators. They have to solve problems. There can be startups. They also need to earn while they learn, because one of the biggest problem that we see is that our students do not have the decision-making power. Their parents make their decisions and they have to start earning while they're learning. So that is where different gig projects we started to take.
Okay.
So at that time, Kerala, KDISC was doing something called a Young Innovator Program, YIP. So Dr. P.V. Unnikrishnan, he came to know about MuLearn and he was very fascinated about it. And he asked me like, can you pitch to the KDISC people that what you actually do? Because he loved the gamification concept that we have in MuLearn. Gamification is just like we divided into 7 levels. Level 1, a student comes there, they have to be in the network, right? They have to introduce, they have to build their portfolio in Git or LinkedIn, etc. Level 2, it is mostly about mindset. They have to learn what is a growth mindset. They have to show perseverance. For example, if you want to build a skill, you have to have that discipline. Most of the time, it is what is missing there. So we started with keyboard mastery. Learn how to use the keyboard without looking into the keyboard. Because anywhere when you use it, it is the important skill. 10 days you have to do it continuously. If 3 days you miss it, you are out of the game. So it is just like a game. Then they level up to level 3 where they actually learn a lot of tools. GitHub command line, Markdown, or even right now ChatGPT. How to use these tools better. Tooling efficiency is very much important.
Yes.
So after setting the mindset, then tooling efficiency, then they choose which is their area. Area can be creative, can be logical, that is programming, can be on leadership or on hardware tinkering. So all these 4 segments, these are the 4 interest group clusters there. So for leadership, they can look as an entrepreneur or project management, etc. Then they do a lot of tasks in that level. Then they gain to level 5, where they get access to these type of events, activities, physical event challenges, hackathons, etc. So, but you have to grow to that level to gain that privilege.
Okay.
Then level 6, you have to submit a proof of work, a real world. You have to create a value for someone by learning certain things.
They need to acknowledge it.
Yes. Then they get to level 7, which is called the MUVers. That is where they get access to Launchpad, Job Fair, or even the Earn While You Learn program activities or product funding, etc. So this KDISC, he was very excited about it, and then he asked like, can you have Young Innovator program in MuLearn? Run through it. So the challenge that he was facing is that there is around 50,000 students they have a campaign and register to it, but students are not submitting the ideas because ideation, the problem solving and all those things, students have a concept like problem, teacher have to give the solution for it, or it should be in YouTube. But it is not like that. They have to think and solve problem. And we took it as a gig project.
Okay.
Around 68 lakhs, Kerala government funded that project. It went to all the campus leaders, campus students, district coordinators and all this. Everything was divided in a way like small gig works for the students. So they create creatives, videos and all those things, PPTs. They run the campaign entirely across the state. And I think around 30,000 plus ideators and 10,000 ideas came. And then they finally asked that, could you please stop that mission because we cannot validate that many numbers, because it became the largest innovation competition in India. So and then the students, what they got in return is like the gigs. They some students got 30,000 per month. Some students got 20,000 per month. Some students got that campaign based on the role that they were carrying.
Yeah.
They were able to earn, and then there were different competitions around the world that was happening. For example, there was something called Meta had a Spark AR challenge. It is to build Instagram filters. Okay, so nobody knows Spark AR. So there was a community called Extruder. They just told that we will run the campaign. We can do the training program. So what we do is that we will set up small competition for 1 hour or 2 hours. We just asked, because who is qualified to come there? Because it is free, right? But you have to show that you are worth for a mentor to spend time with you. So the question was, do you know how to draw a picture? Draw a picture in a paper, take a picture and submit in next 1 hour. So around 64 students participated. We brought them to a space and taught them on Spark AR. Out of 200 global winners, 27 was from that batch and they won 18 lakh rupees. And that created much higher momentum because students, they are buying iPhone, they are buying MacBook. And what is happening? Because we have to understand it was a global competition. The kid who know how to draw, there are students even from schools, there were students even from non-IT background coming and learning it and competing in a global competition. And they won. So that is the potential that our kids have. One was using OpenAI, build any product. Second was something called backend. How much higher potential? Because they belong to the new generation and they are the fastest learners. And then Startup Mission had Huddle Global. Huddle ticket was available and Anup was mentioning about, can we have a hackathon for students where they come there and do some ideation and build some products for them? Because we had something called in 50 hours that I used to do in 2013, 14, those periods. Similarly, some event can we have? Then I thought, like, we have these students, kids, we need to conduct something challenging for them. So we started with the top 100 coders.
Okay.
So that was a competition which started 100 days before Huddle Global. And the thing is, these next 100 days, you have to go through certain challenges. For example, first level, you go to hacker rank, get to the rank of within 20,000 or 1 lakh. So they started 67 lakhs. They are competing across the globe with the programmers. They are coming and gaining karma points on reaching certain levels. Then there will be some problem statements given, etc. Different levels of challenges. They started with around 10,000 students itself. Then finally around 67 got qualified for the final level. Because perseverance is the key. And then those kids were brought to Huddle Global. 3 days they stayed there and we gave them 2 challenges. One was using OpenAI, build any product. Second was something called backend. Backend is a protocol that powers ONDC, Nammayatri and all those things. The team, Dr. Pramod Verma, Nandan Nilekani, Sujit Nair. This is a team that who actually run backend, right?
Yeah, there's authentication protocol.
Yeah, authentication protocol, digital identity, Aadhaar thing. Similarly, making things interoperable, that is backend. It is considered very complex because larger companies take 3 months to train a team member to be part of the team who works in backend because it is a protocol. So I am giving it to the students in a 3-day challenge, and people were telling like I am crazy because they were believe that 10 years of experienced architect is required to understand backend. So I just asked the backend team that is, can you send somebody to teach the students on, to support them on backend? Then there is somebody called Fayas. He was the technology officer at backend. He came there. Then I told everyone that, oh, the technology person is coming, so our kids will do that. Then they were telling like, oh, it is not possible. It is like building an atom bomb. If I bring in a person who actually built the atom bomb, can these kids do that? It is not possible. First day, they sat together, they started asking questions to him. Then he was explaining backend, the protocol, and then how the network affect, how the registry, how it get transferred, all those things. Initially, the students was not able to even relate to it. But slowly they started asking relevant questions. And by end of the second day, they called back the person who told that it is like building an atom bomb and telling like, Cheta, we have built the atom bomb. They made the network up and built 4 products in backend.
Okay.
And to my surprise, the CEO of FIDE, that is the backend, Sujit Nair, he contacted me and he actually wanted to see these kids. He came down, he met these students, and they were also taken to Bangalore. There was a program that was happening in IAM. And he asked that, how did you made it possible? Because it is so complex, right? So I will give you an idea. Can you make it? So what was it? He told that, can you create a UI for backend where anybody go and do the configuration so that network can be up? They told yes. Because they do not know the complexity of this, so they say yes. Then after a week, they built something called Backend Onyx. The CTO of backend was also there, Ravi. That is, he was the one who was guiding them on those things. And they made Backend Onyx. The guys who worked on it, one is Michelle, who is a +2 student, who just passed +2 and he didn't take his engineering. He's a coder. Okay, there is Govind, who was studying in 3rd year in Marine Engineering College, and Anil Antony, who was working in another company in Bangalore. These people came together and built backend Onyx, and that is something rapidly deploy backend network in 7 minutes. So previously it required 3 to 4 months to make a network up. Right now you can make it in 7 minutes. So that is the potential our kids have. But we are not exposing them to those type of challenges. That is the only problem that we see, because all these students are driven towards writing examination and scoring marks. So go through this line and they have to follow the line. And if they do not, then it is a big problem, attendance problem. They have to write assignments, they have to write test papers, and this memory-based system. Well, these kids have much higher potential because they belong to the new generation and they are the fastest learners. And they are very passionate about this thing, and they are mostly into their intimate space. They belong to their own tribe. And then if we connect them together and challenge them, they will surprise us. There are a lot of, I just told a few examples. It is not the end of all the list, but there is hundreds of such examples from the MuLearn community, because these kids, we tag them as Gen Z. We tag them as they are not responsible. They do not take care of the parents. They are violent. They are drug addicts. There are a lot of labels that we give for the Gen Z kids, but it is not like that. I work with around 60,000, right? I have been with that community for the past 5 years, and I know the sufferings that they are facing right now, because they have to get to a world where the jobs that we see as jobs today is not going to exist, right? And what are we preparing them for? We have to prepare them for the world which they have to face, not the world which we have seen. And for that, they should be put into situations which they are not exposed to, try to figure out, find the community network and solve the problems. And that is how they have to get mentored. And one thing, like when we look for obedient students for companies, we do not need more obedient people, because we want people who actually can learn and adapt the new technologies, right? That is where the companies are also going in the future.
Right.
So innovation happens when we move out of the line, thinking out of the box, not following the line. So we want innovators, and that is where the culture that we are setting in MuLearn takes the students towards. One change happened in the mindset of students. They are in the classroom not for attending the class, but for attendance. We do not know what sort of resources need to be hired and what these kids has to be trained on. Even our existing resources, right? Faculty should be not over the students, but should be the authority on the subject which they teach. That gives them confidence, know that where I actually belong, where the students chat and take the conversation.